Hey guys, what is up? It is another episode of Franchise Hockey Manager 7 with the Boston Bruins. It's February 1st, as you can see. We are 26, 23, and 4. We're in 10th place in the East. 4 games behind 8th place Tampa and 7th place New York. We do have some games in hand on New York. Tampa actually has some games in hand on us. So it's been up and down, I guess, is probably the best way to say it. If you look at our schedule, we lost this game against San Jose, then we won, then we lost 2 in a row, then we won 3 in a row, lost 4 out of 5, and then lost the final game of the year. So it wasn't a terrible month for us, but we're still not in great shape. We have a lot of injuries. Marchand, Newhook, Zadorov, and Kamel are all hurt. So we're in a position where we are playing a lot of players that, they're getting a lot more playing time than what they might normally get. We had to call up Ozzy Wiesblatt. He's played 2 games. Cole Miller has played more than we'd like as of late. But we're missing our top 2 left wings, which is an issue, of course. We made the decision to put a couple of guys on the trade block. You can see Nick Leddy. He is on the trade block, has been since we picked him up. We put Adam Fox on the trade block, and we put Steven Stamkos on the trade block, as well as Charlie Coyle, who's been there since the beginning. And we're just going to sort of see how it goes here. There was a lot that happened, if I remember correct. It's been a few days since I've recorded, so I don't remember exactly how much of this we've gone over. But Detroit traded Chris Letang to the Stars for a 22-year-old prospect. He's pretty good. Matthew Samoskevich. Deal here between Dallas and Anaheim. 3rd-round pick for a 2-star defenseman. I guess that's it. So I guess not much has happened. Actually, let's take a look at our team stats. Pasternak, 60 points in 53 games. Stamkos, 50 in 53. Newhook's that top line doing really, really well, although Stamkos is the second-line center. Couturier at 45 and 51. Fox is having a good year, 34 points in 53 games. Provorov has struggled, 26 points in 48 games. We did offer him up just to see what we could get, and it looks like a lot of teams were offering a first-round pick, so that may be something we consider if we can get a first-round pick that's high enough. Wallstrom, 23 points in 35 games. Marchand, 22 in 36. Gunther averaging about a point every other game. McAvoy's doing okay. Jake Bean having a tough year. 18 points in 46 games. Jesper Boqvist doing okay point-wise, but he's a minus. A lot of really bad plus-minus numbers. Coyle's a minus 17. Eklund a minus 14. So, yeah, not great from some of our lines. Some of our lines are doing okay. Goalie stats, Blackwood's back to being garbage, even though he's showing as 5 levels of heat, as you will. 3.42 goals against, 904 save percentage. Swayman at a 911 and a 307. So I wanted to, let's take a look real quick, because maybe we can do this right off the bat. So San Jose and Winnipeg are the 2 worst teams in the league. So let's go to Winnipeg and see if they will. Yeah, I didn't think they would do that, but what if we give them our second? No. What if we give them our first? Nope. Okay, so I question whether or not we're going to be able to land a top draft pick. A top 2, top 3 draft pick. Let's see if this is any different. Yeah, they can't add that much salary, but I don't think even if we took salary back. Let's see if they've got any really. I know they have bad cap hits because they got Burns and Carlson. What if we took back Burns? He's using his no trade clause. Okay. What if we took back Ryan Graves? Not willing to move a high draft pick that cheaply. So as we get closer to the trade deadline, we will look. And maybe if we can pick up a second first-round pick, that's something we would want to consider. Although we want to see how well we do here over the next, next couple weeks. So What game? What game do we want to play? This is going to be a relatively quick episode. We're just going to play probably one game and go up to the trade deadline, which is on the 24th. So maybe I just sim up ahead to the trade deadline. We play this game on the 25th and we call it an episode. So, let's I'll sim ahead a week and we'll see if we get any closer. And see if and we got 5 games here over the next 7 days. So this is going to go a long way to sort of determining what this season's going to look like. So we'll see how these 5 games go and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, we're back. It's a week later. We went 3-1-1 in those 5 games. You can see we beat Pittsburgh and Philly, lost 4-1 to Carolina, beat the Rangers 3-2, and then lost in overtime to the Washington Capitals. So standings-wise now, that puts us, we're still in 11th. But we are a point behind Ottawa. They have a game in hand. So we got to climb over 3 teams to get the 8th spot where we would take on the Detroit Red Wings. So the question is, do we try to push forward with this, or do we take a step back this season and say maybe it wasn't meant to be? I don't really know. Pasternak's having a great year, 70 points in 58 games. Gunther's coming along slowly. Newhook's having a good year. I hate to give up Stamkos. He's a point-a-game guy for us, but we're not going to re-sign him. I think Provorov. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we move Provorov, what do? We call up Kalisti and have him be our 6th defenseman, or Olsen. Yeah, it's got to be Kalisti. Unless we can get a defenseman back in the deal. So let's try this. And I'm not going to sit here and have you guys watch my entire trade process. That's boring. So we'll see what we can get from offers. Trade shop. So you can see Vegas offering us a first, Nashville, Florida, Anaheim, Ottawa, Arizona, Colorado, Washington, New Jersey, the Islanders. How many of these teams are bad, though? That's the question. Because I don't want a pick in the 20s for Provorov. The Rangers, the Red Wings, the Blackhawks, the Leafs, the Canadiens. All right, let's look at the standings. Seattle offered us a second, so you kind of get a feel for where they stand. Did Chicago offer us a first, or did they offer us a second? Second. So it looks like we can get a sort of a bottom half first round pick, or a top of the second round pick, and obviously you'd rather go for the first round pick. Vegas is in second place. They're having a good year. Columbus, I think they offered a second, right? Yeah. So it really is sort of a top half, bottom half kind of thing. Can we find ourselves a defensive prospect, maybe? I can't... I haven't really tried trading this way, so I don't know exactly how... who does he play for? Contract. Devils. Trade offer. I just want to see if there's any sort of there's any way at all that this type of deal could work. My gut tells me no, but our scout thinks it's a well-balanced offer. I mean, I would take that in a cocaine heartbeat. So let's offer it and see what we get. Let's sim ahead a couple of days. And then we have Cameron Wynot, who should be back. He's got a grade 1 concussion, but as soon as he's back, we can call him up. Let's sim through this game. Because if it says it's a close offer, I will... Oh, we beat Detroit. Look at that. Fantastic. That was unexpected. Beat the best team in the league. Stamkos with a couple of assists. Pasternak, Wahlstrom, and Gunther all scored. Let's delete all those. I don't need to see all that. Let's sim ahead a day. What this tells me, though, so it says no way. It's close to being all right. So I'm gonna discuss it with him, and I'm gonna try to make it realistic. Because the one thing I'm noticing is that the game tends to undervalue the rights of players. I don't know that this deal is that far off. Provorov is a 3.5-star, 28-year-old defenseman for a team that is in the hunt. You know, they're sitting right in the middle of the pack in the playoffs this year. You know, we're on the fringe. So I'm going to try to futz around with this deal, and we'll see what we can come up with. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, we're back. It is the day after the trade deadline. And it wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be, because I forgot that a lot of these players have got no movement clauses. So I wasn't able to move Marchand, wasn't able to move Stamkos, but we were able to make a couple of deals. We'll start with, I guess we'll start here. So on the day of the trade deadline, the Los Angeles Kings came to us. They offered us a 20-year-old defensive defenseman, Jackson Dorrington, 6'1", 207-pound lefty defenseman, out of North Reading, Massachusetts. So it was coming home to play for Boston. Played for Holy Cross last season. And we sent him, we got him from the Kings in exchange for Charlie Coyle. So we were finally able to get out from underneath that Coyle contract. Granted, there's only 1 year left after this season, but we thank Charlie for his time. If we look at his career, was never really able to put it together. Had a couple of decent seasons, 2021, 20 and 2021 was okay. His first year with us, once we fired up this save, or I guess that was the second year, he was injured. Then he bounced back with a pretty good season, 47 points in 75 games in 2023. But it's been downhill since then. Only 24 points last season, and then this year only 15, and he was a minus 19. So we wish Charlie Coyle well. The Kings then waived Aiden Dudas, who we picked up. Who is basically the same thing as Coyle in terms of his ratings, just a little bit worse. So we picked him up just to be some depth wing on the offense. We signed. I guess we'll look at some of the. Let's finish looking at the trades. So if we look at the transaction log, you can see a lot of moves here for us. We also picked up Terrell Goldsmith from the Philadelphia Flyers. They offered us another defensive defenseman. He's huge, 6'3", 223 pounds. He's 19 years old. We picked him up for Nick Leddy. It was another deal that was made, another offer that was made to us. The Flyers offered us Leddy for Goldsmith for some reason. And they immediately sent Leddy down to the minors, but that's not my problem. So we pick up a 19-year-old defenseman who looks pretty good. Pretty physical kid. You can see 140 penalty minutes, 60 points or 47 points in 60 games in the WHL last year. And then the big deal was with the New Jersey Devils, and we just went all in. I just said the hell with it. So we sent Ivan Provorov and Mackenzie Blackwood back to New Jersey in exchange for top prospect Luke Hughes and Colton White. We needed White just to match up the salaries, as New Jersey had 50 players under contract. So we sent Provorov, whose one season in Boston was not very good, 30 points in 57 games. His rating wasn't terrible. It was a 66 rating, but significantly down from where he had been with Philadelphia. He was a -5. So we sent him along with Blackwood, who was just never able to put it together for us, back to New Jersey. Yeah, I mean, he was never above average. He was really a bad goalie for us for 2.5 years. So we sent him back to New Jersey, and in return, we get top prospect Luke Hughes, who we will sign as soon as we are able to sign him. He is expected to be significantly better than Charlie McAvoy. He is an elite defenseman. You can look at those ratings already: 14, 13, 14, and 14. 4 years at Michigan, where he averaged, look at his junior season, 60 points as a defenseman in 38 games. So looking forward to having him on the roster next season. And that gives us a pretty new look as we're going to go young here with our defensemen. We still have McAvoy, Vakanainen, and Fox and Bean are our top four. Actually, let's look at the contract signings, because we did sign a bunch of people to new contracts. We signed Khalisti. We did sign Adam Fox. I only wanted 3 years, and I was okay with that. 3 years at $6 million, so it's a little bit of money, but slight upgrade. He's only 27, so he'll be 30 by the time the contract expires. I'm okay with that. We also signed Beecher, Eklund, and Khalisti, so we locked down some of our younger role-type players. Eklund still has a ton of room to grow, and offensively, it hasn't been there yet, but maybe, next year when he moves up the line because Marchand is gone, maybe he moves up to the second line, and that's his bust-out year. He's only 22. Beecher is what he is. I mean, he's a third or fourth line center, but, I mean, and he's only scored 1 goal this year. Wow, that's really bad. But he's a good defensive forward, and that's, there's value in that. So that's some of the stuff we did, and we're going to be playing New Jersey immediately, because of course we are. So if you look at stats now through 64 games, Pasternak at 74, Couturier 56, 3 guys over 20, Pasternak, Couturier, Stamkos. Newhook at 52 in 62 games. Fox having a pretty good year points-wise. Wahlstrom, 27 points. McAvoy is one of the few pluses on the back end. Marchand, his last year with Boston is not great. His rating is still okay. He's got a 67 rating, but he's just not scoring. And we're not scoring, period. Goaltender, we called up Dylan Ferguson. 2 games, 3.53, goals against, 8.99, save percentage. So he's basically just as bad as Blackwood is, but we're paying him, a third of what we were paying Blackwood. Swayman's picked it up a bit. He's up to a 9.15 save percentage and a 2.94 goals against. So we're 31, 27, and 6, which is good for 10th. We are 3 points behind Florida, so we still got room to maneuver here, even with some of these players gone, but we are going to have to make a run over the last 20 games. So let's play this game against New Jersey. We're going to run Newhook, Couturier, Pasternak, Marchand, Stamkos, Wahlstrom, Boqvist, Miller, Gunther, Beecher with Eklund and Cristal on either side of him. McAvoy and Fox, Vakanainen and Bean, Cameron Wynot, and Colton White on the back end. And Dylan Ferguson is going to get the start for us in goal. Mackenzie Blackwood's going to get the start for them. So let's see how we do against old friend Mackenzie Blackwood. So So yeah, it's going to be a pretty quick episode. I think we're just going to do the one game, and then we get an early breakaway here for Pasternak's save is made, and then next episode will, depending on where we are, if we're, I'll play offline, and if we're in the playoff hunt, I'll come back and maybe we'll do the last couple games of the season or something. If we're not in the playoff hunt, I'll come back and do the last game of the season, and then we'll do the off season. So. We'll see how the end of the season goes, what the new look Bruins here can do as we come down the stretch. And I just think it was time for a change. If I could have moved Stamkos, I probably would have. I don't think we're going to bring him back. We'll see what he's asking for. Although we do have a little bit of money now with Provorov off the books and Coyle off the books, as well as Blackwood, who was only making about $2.5 million, but still, it's $2.5 million. So we do have some money, a little bit of money to spend. I'm not going to go nuts. It's time to see what we have from some of these young players, so I'm not going to sign a second-line center to replace Marchand. I'm going to give that job Declan. And New Jersey gets on the board first. Bryce McConnell-Barker from Foote and Severson, 1-0. We may have to look for a second-line center if we don't re-sign Stamkos. So we'll just have to kind of see what happens there. But that's still a ways away. We still have 20-ish games left in the season where we can make an impact and hopefully make the playoffs and make some noise. Because it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. So let's see if we can get back into this one. And Nolan Foote is out with a strained groin, but he'll play the rest of the game. Because FHM. Not that I'm complaining. I adore this game, but yeah, that's one of the bugs they need to work on. We still trail 1-0. And I may here over the next, we'll see how the end of this game goes, but I may move Marchand down a line and move Eklund up to that second line and see how he does with Stamkos and Wahlstrom. Maybe offensively he's able to pick it up down the stretch if we just kind of throw him in the fire. And at this point we may as well, right? We are on the outside looking in, so we may as well load up the youngsters and see how they do. So, and we score. Nice. We got that goal. Jesper Bokvist from Bean and Vakanainen. So Bokvist has been a nice find for us, getting him for almost nothing in the offseason. Maybe we'll take a look and see what he wants to come back as well. Depending on the money, there are more pressing needs, but... So we are tied at 1. Shot goes wide. That one is saved by Ferguson. I mean, I figure if I'm going to get bad goaltending, I may as well do it cheaply, right? So no reason to pay Blackwood what we were paying him to be terrible. We may as well pay Ferguson to be terrible and only pay him $700,000 or whatever. Final 2 of the first period, tied at 1. That shot is saved by Ferguson. And we go in off sides. Deflected into the seats. We go in offsides again. And that's the end of the first period. So we get outshot 12-8. Ferguson has a pretty nice first period, stopping 11 out of 12. Bokvist got the goal for us, and we are all knotted at 1. Save Ferguson. But if we are going to do it, I mean, this is as good a game as any to start, as the Devils are one of the teams ahead of us. So you beat the teams in front of you when you're battling for it, and you see what happens. So it's kind of where we are, and we'll see how the next Marchand goes for high sticking. We'll see how the next 20 games or so go. First power play opportunity of the game. A couple of saves, and we're finally able to get it out. Here comes Couturier. Has it taken away. Saved. Clear it out again, and it looks like we're going to kill off the man advantage. Yep, puck is cleared in deep, but we kill off the penalty kill, or the power play, however you want to look at it. Another Another save by Ferguson. Here comes Boqvist. Tries to pass it back. Nobody home. One of the issues I've always had with FHM, from personally, not like a problem with the game, but a problem that I have, is Hampus Lindholm goes for tripping, is that I'm not patient enough. I'm not patient enough for our young players. Like, I'll look at someone like Oliver Wahlstrom, who's been okay. I mean, he hasn't been great, but he's been okay. And I start thinking, well, he's been bad for... or he's been, average for a couple of years. Maybe I look to move him, but then I remember that he's only, 22 years old or whatever. Same thing with Eklund, right? Eklund's, he's had a couple of bad seasons, but he's only 22 years old. So who knows, what'll happen when he's 25. So I need to learn some patience with these guys and just try to run with them. So we're midway through the hockey game. It's 1-1. Ferguson playing really well for us in goal. Holds on to that one. Is iced. Shot goes wide. That one goes behind the net. The Bruins change up. The only two players who I think had expiring contracts that we haven't re-signed yet are Stamkos and Vakanainen. And Vakanainen wants like $4.5 million for 1 year. And I don't know that I want to spend $4.5 million for my fourth defenseman. So that's something I'm still thinking about. It all depends on the development from Wynot and what Hughes looks like. So if I can throw Hughes and Wynot in there next season, and they're both, 2-star, 2.5-star defensemen, I'm perfectly okay letting Vakanainen test the waters. In fact, he's somebody I could have potentially looked to move at the trade deadline this year, but we'll see. Maybe we can bring him back in free agency for less. I don't know. Still tied at 1. No scoring here in the second period. Shots blocked there by Blackwood. Taken away by the Bruins. Here comes Boqvist. And puck is held onto with 1 second left. So that's the end of the second period. So we're being outshot 28-14. But Ferguson has looked really good, stopping 27-28 as we go to the third, tied at 1. Can we pull 2 points out of this one? As Pasternak ices it. Ferguson holds on to that one. Couple of shots, couple more saves for Ferguson. So when the game's over, we'll look at Provorov. We'll see how he did, and we'll compare stats and stuff. But yeah, like I said, fairly quick episode here. Just wanted to get through the trade deadline because the season was sort of iffy. I didn't feel necessarily the need to play a ton of games. The whole point of this is to win it all, and if we're not in it, then what's the point of continuing to play the games during the season? If you guys like more games, I'll play more games, but Pasternak goes for tripping. You just got to let me know in the comments, and I'll make whatever changes I need to make based on what you guys want to see. Save by Ferguson. Comes Boqvist again. That puck is deflected into the seats. Minute left on the penalty to Pasta. Another save by Ferguson. Here comes Pasternak on the breakaway. 2 shots, 3 shots, and Blackwood stones him. Came out of the penalty box with a head of steam. Shot save held onto. Stamkos wins the draw, but New Jersey's able to get it out. Here comes Marchand. Gets stoned at the blue line, and Matthias Ekholm plays for New Jersey apparently now. is going to go for holding. So we have a man advantage with 10 minutes left in the third. Can we get that game? Can we get that tie-breaking goal? Not yet. And we do, with 8:52 left. New hook from Bean and Fox. 2 assists for Jake Bean. Very nice. Alex Newhook picks up the power play goal, and we're up 2-1. Andrew Cristal's going to go for high sticking, so we go on the penalty kill again almost immediately after scoring a goal. New Jersey has it now. Save made by Ferguson, and Ty Smith goes for holding, so he grabs on to Couturier, so it's 4-on-4 for the next minute. And then we'll go on another man advantage. Urho Vakanainen's going to go 5 minutes for fighting, along with Ivan Provorov. So no love lost there between the former Bruin and the young defenseman for Boston. So we are now on a man advantage for the next 50 seconds. Here comes Marchand. Loses the puck. Save Ferguson. Save Ferguson. Down to final 5. That's it for the man advantage. 5 minutes left. We're up by a goal. Can we hold on? Save off the stick of the Bruins. We're down to 3:18 left now. We're down to 2. Save. Final minute of play. Is New Jersey going to pull the goalie? They are, but the Bruins ice it. Or they aren't yet, I guess, but the Bruins ice it. It's our puck, 30 seconds. We get it into the New Jersey zone. Shot, and we win. We hold on and we win, 2-1. So good win for the Bruins. Dylan Ferguson stopped 43 out of 44 shots. Mackenzie Blackwood wasn't bad for them. He stopped 32 out of 34, but Ferguson was better. So they got the scoring first. Bryce McConnell-Barker from Foote and Severson. Boqvist scored his 10th of the year from Bean and Vakanainen. No scoring in the second, and then in the third on the power play. Alex Newhook with his 17th of the year. A lot of 60s, no 70s, but a lot of 60s. Pasternak, Fox, and Bean each with 68s, along with Marchand, 67 for Pasta. On the other end, Provorov with a 65. He had the fight with Vakanainen. And yeah, so we were 1 for 3 on the power play. They were 0 for 3. They outshot us 44-34, but Dylan Ferguson was fantastic. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and sim ahead. And when we come back, it'll be close to the end of the regular season. When I come back, will be dependent on how we're doing in the playoff race. If we're in it towards the end, we'll probably look at some of those last games of the year. If we're not in it, we'll probably just play the final game of the season and move on to off-season number, off-season number 4, I guess. So as always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Let me know your thoughts. Drop me a subscribe, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.